Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete and certified high performance coach. And we have a special guest. We tried to do a remote podcast in his truck as we were hanging out going to the airport. And when you do that, audio is not the best. So I asked Stephen to come back on and he agreed to. So Stephen, thank you for taking the time to come back and share with our community a little bit about what you're doing. So tell our viewers that don't know you, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Hey, Pete. Thanks for having me back, by the way.
Absolutely.
So my name's Stephen Whittier, and for a living, I'm a software development professional. I'm a freelance consultant now. I've been in the software industry since 1997. I have my own company that I'm trying to start up, but for right now, I'm just kind of funding things through my freelancing gig. Um, who I serve, primarily my family, of course,
Mhm.
trying to make sure they have a safe and comfortable place to live. But I also like doing a lot of service in my community as well. And I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit here as we get into the discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So I want to go back to when, like, I find IT and technical people have a journey that goes way back. When
Mhm.
did you start getting interested in the technology or the computer type industry? Were you
Yeah,
just thrown into it?
that's a great question. So I think the answer to that is probably that I started around age 10.
Hmm.
Um, Oddly enough, when I was growing up, my mom was really strict about not having gaming consoles in the house. So no Atari, no Nintendo, none of that.
Hmm.
But her dad was a big time. My grandfather was a big time electronics guru.
Hmm.
Did a lot of ham radio and television repair, and he ended up bringing the first personal computer into our house. And we started programming games into that, and that's kind of how we brought video games in the back door. Um, so yeah, that all started at a very early age. But it was as a hobby, and then I finished up high school. I went to college. um, I actually have a degree in applied mathematics, but when I graduated from college, I kind of leaned back into the hobby because I realized that there was money to be made there.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, the world changed real fast, and from age 10 was those early ages. I remember DOS and the dial up and all that kind of stuff that was really intimidating for a lot of us. Now, as you got going with it, were you like going your first job? What was that like?
So honestly, my first job out of college was in a way kind of a step back for me because I entered the industry as a software tester because on paper I didn't have any experience or any background. Like I said, I had a degree in mathematics, which is tangential to computer science, but I didn't have a computer science degree,
Hmm.
um, or any tangible works that I could point to. Like I said, it was for me, um, just an enthusiast and a hobbyist, was most of my exposure to computer programming. So I started off as a software tester, but as I was getting in there, I was, you know, learning the ropes, so to
Hmm.
speak, and I transitioned over into a software engineering role within the first year and a half that I was in the industry.
Hmm.
Um, and then, from there, everything has pretty much been self-taught. And I think, as you alluded to earlier, things are constantly changing. Um, so you are doing a lot of self-teaching along the journey in order to stay, you know, up to date, to keep your skills sharp.
Yeah, I heard a person talking about, the changing world of AI and how we used to, like our parents, our generation, we worked a number of years for a company, and now it's really, there's gigs out there, there's entrepreneurship. Like, what do you see as the world is changing? Are you kind of good at adapting, or do you struggle with all the massive changing that's happening in our society today?
I would say on a whole, I'm pretty good at adapting. I mean, sometimes some things move a little more quickly than I would say that I was used to earlier in my career.
Hmm.
But I really have to lean into it a lot for better or worse. With regards to AI in and of itself, I will say that I use it as a tool, but I don't use it to solve all my problems, if that makes sense. So I don't. It's not a replacement for myself or others to get the job done. It's more of a quicker reference tool. So I kind of allude to. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the site Stack Overflow, but a lot of developers who would get stuck with problems would post questions, and others would post answers on these message forums and help each other out. Um, and so that wasn't really in real time or all that quick, or sometimes you'd have to really fish around to find the answers.
Hmm.
Um, but nowadays, you can ask a lot of those similar kinds of questions to an AI chatbot, and most of the time, get a reasonable answer in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, I want to let our people know that in the show notes, because we had a little change in the time that I asked you if we could reset. Well, I went into Gemini and I searched your name and I put the word Rotary, because I didn't know if I put IT, if we would get you. But it gave the most amazing summary. I mean, I was looking at that and I found out some things real fast that I
Oh,
didn't know.
wow.
So in the
Now
show,
I'm gonna have to go, check that out and see if I
yeah.
learned anything about
Oh,
myself.
yeah. Yeah, I did one, Chip, in our Rotary Club. I,
Yeah.
I did one, and I went and took his LinkedIn profile before I was using Gemini. I mean, I use Gemini now, but
Mhm.
it pulled in some information, and I said, Chip, you don't work for, I think it was Pintail. He goes, no, that's not me. So it pulled in, even though I gave it the right link on his LinkedIn, it pulled in some other information. So it's not always accurate, but sometimes it'll amaze you. What do you like about the idea that you're, I believe what you just said. I believe in HI, which is human intelligence,
Mhm.
leveraging AI as an entrepreneur, and as you're forging forward, because the future is going to be in entrepreneurship. What are you looking forward to with all this rapid change and being able to know the technical side to the world? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, I mean, this is probably cliche or not all that interesting, but I think, uh, I'm just looking forward to the ability to make more advances more quickly, within technology stacks, if that makes sense. Like I said earlier, sometimes, if I go all the way back to the beginning of my career, um, we didn't even have a chance to go online a lot of the time to find answers to questions. And
Hmm.
if our peers didn't have them, we might find a book somewhere and thumb through it and find an answer, maybe.
Hmm.
And then things advanced. Like I said, you had message boards where and communities online where you could exchange ideas, and that was a little bit faster, and worked most of the time. Um, but now, like I said, it's almost in real time, that you can get answers to your questions.
Hmm.
And I throw up the air quotes there because the answers to the questions are at least presently only as good as the backing data for these models that the AI is using. So, like you pointed out a minute ago with Chip, it's pulling in some data from other places erroneously. So there's still some human intervention that is necessary there in order to get the job done. But yeah, on a whole, this has been a little bit long-winded, but I'm mostly looking forward to see how we can leverage it to make quicker advances.
Hmm. Yeah, it's an exciting world, and I do think that a lot of businesses are not leveraging it as much as they can, because the unknown is the unknown, is how to use it, what to do with it. I want to pivot just a little bit into the service area of your life. So you joined the Rotary at North Cobb. So when you started and you entered into that, you know, service part of your life, what were you expecting when you came and visited for the first time Rotary? And did what kind of surprises could you share with our audience that, they may not be thinking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So honestly, I kept my expectations pretty low throughout the whole process. When so to back up a little bit, like in November of last year, um, I was at a point where I had finally, gotten out of a long period of unemployment. I locked down a contract. I started up my LLC.
Hmm.
Um, and I really wanted to get engaged with the community and with do some professional networking. And a friend of mine had posted something about Rotary on LinkedIn, and the light bulb kind of went off.
Hmm.
My dad was a member of Rotary way back in the 80s.
Really?
But yeah, I really don't know much about his journey. But so, I came into it honestly. I applied online and I did not expect to hear anything back. Dave, of course, got back to me the next day because I had filled out the form, I think, pretty late at night.
Hmm.
But yeah, when I came into that first club meeting, um, uh, you know, I came into it just kind of expecting no one to talk to me. I'm coming into a room full of strangers. Um, and I thought, best case, may meet like one or two people, and then I'll just maybe go on with life. Those were really kind of my expectations.
Yeah.
Instead, I came in, um, and everybody was so open and welcoming. Um, and there was an energy in the room, like I think I've talked to you about before. There's probably at least a dozen comedians in there every Thursday morning too. The speaker was really super inspiring as well, and
Hmm.
most of them, if not all of them that we've had, have been. They make you think about things that you would not seek out yourself, probably,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
um and some of them have just the absolutely most amazing stories to tell. um so all of that, my reaction to it was I was almost overwhelmed with like positivity, still am. And it really motivated me to get highly engaged with the club,
Hmm.
and get involved with these people more. It's been very rewarding.
Yeah, I always like there's spectators and there's people that are in the game. I'll say you're the person that's in the game, and you leaned in, and through leaning in and leading projects, you were awarded the Rookie Rotarian of the Year. So for people that, don't know anything about Rotary, what was that year like of serving, and how did it affect you personally to be recognized by your peers for something so special as the Rotarian of the Year?
So to answer the first part of the question, the working on these service projects has been absolutely amazing. It's it's really something else. I've in the past I've worked on some projects. I've worked with Habitat for Humanity. I've worked with MedShare. I've done numerous charity bicycle rides and raised a lot of money through donations for various organizations. But
Mhm.
what's different with Rotary, is that yes, we have the foundation and we have fundraising and all those sorts of things, but these service projects, we're literally going out into the community and you are literally meeting the people who you are helping.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, that in and of itself is just almost undescribable. When you're having a conversation with somebody at Forever Fed, a family that you're helping out with, food insecurity for the month, or if you're at the men's or women's extension and you're sitting down to dinner with these folks, and talking to them about their journey, it's just it's highly impactful. And not to mention, just working hand in hand in the trenches with the other Rotarians.
Mhm.
um, it builds an incredible bond very quickly. These are just like-minded, open-minded, um, kind-hearted individuals, um, and you get to know them very quickly, it seems. And so that's all been fantastic as well.
Mhm.
As far as the Rookie Rotarian of the Year is concerned, um, when I went to the meeting back in June, the changing of the guard is what I call it, when we bring in the new president and board and all that. You know, in the back of my mind, I thought that they would be giving out some kind of awards, but I didn't know what for or to who or anything. I certainly wasn't expecting what happened that night, and it really kind of put me on my heels, and in a good way. Um, and As I've told you before, if anything, it's kind of like it just strapped a rocket pack to my back and made me want to work even harder with the club.
Mhm.
Contributing wherever or however I can.
Yeah, Jose, our president, I rode with him up to Red Top Mountain for the boys. It was I think, a fundraiser of some sort, and so he was sharing his journey with me. And Jude Dooley was at the YMCA, and I think he was a past president of the Rotary. Had invited him to get involved, and he's going like, my boss invited me to get involved, so he did. And he said, I was joining because I had to. Then Rotary got in me. It's like it got into my DNA. Now, if you look at his journey, he's working with Rotary. He's president of the North Cobb Rotary, and he's doing some amazing things. Do you feel that at that journey of the first year, there was a kind of a clicking point or a changing point where you all of a sudden just it just got inside of you, and then you started to get more Rotary inside of you? Was there anything that really hit you along the first year?
Yeah, I mean, but it was almost immediately. After it was almost like I'm highly organized and I'm a planner. And after I kind of saw the rhythm of a couple of months of being in Rotary and like the different service projects and when they occur and where they occur and all of that, um, that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this. Like I've got my calendar planned out. I know where to be. I know what to do. I know, for the most part, I expect who may be there. Um, and but It was also in February or March. I got to go back and look at my notes, but like, I you know I saw that there was a little bit of confusion around a couple of things with the pantry restock project at KSU. Like
Mm.
the folks at KSU were managing the registration on their site for their internal people, but also opening that up to Rotary. Rotary also had Sign Up Genius. There was confusion over the parking code. Um, And, I just kind of saw that as an opportunity and decided to get on the horn. And I actually talked to the director over there at KSU, over KSU Care, and
Hmm.
said, "Hey, is there a way that I can help get this a little bit more organized, get it back on the rails? Do you still need help from us?" And she's like, "Oh yes, absolutely." So I kind of, um, you know, got that information from her, and I was saying, a lot of people go to your site, the registration site, and see that it's already full because a lot of the students will, and Rotaract folks will book months in advance. And I said, "Is it okay if we have 5 or 10 slots that we keep on our sign up genius internally?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And so from there, that I think that was the moment, because Ada had said, "Hey, do you want to be the champion on this thing?" And I'm sitting there thinking, well, yeah, but I've only been in the club for 2 months, but yeah, sure. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the moment, I think.
Do you feel like from a processing and a problem solving point that you look at things and you want to solve the problem? Or is that the way your brain works with how you work and how you organize your life? Is that something that just comes to you naturally?
Yeah, for better or worse. Yeah, absolutely. In almost all aspects. Yeah.
What do you think on a personal note? The world's changing very rapidly. I know Christy is teaches and your daughter's in high school. What do you see as the challenges of being a dad and leading the family? Are you excited about the change, or is there kind of like a little apprehension because there's rapid change that's upon us? Just talk to us from a dad, or talk to us from that viewpoint for our viewers to get a better understanding.
So I'm, for the most part, I'm excited about the change. I try not to dwell too much on, what could go wrong. Um, I think that uh, my primary focus is just trying to stay engaged,
Hmm.
to pay attention. Um, and both Christy and I are very committed to Veronica's well-being, especially in school and within her peer groups
Hmm.
and her extracurricular activities. Because both of us, Christy and I, both um, lacked a lot of that um, in our childhood, and especially in our adolescent high school years.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of a motivator for me. But uh, to 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 get to the meat of the question here, though, I think that I curb the anxiety by just trying to stay um, engaged as much
Hmm.
as I can without being overbearing.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Thanks for sharing that. So, when you're like not solving problems in the IT and networking world, and you're not serving in Rotary, what do you like to do to unwind and have fun?
So I like to go uh, hiking and walking. I like to do fishing, although I don't have a whole lot of time for that. Um, I just say getting outdoors, or being a tourist in my own town. I think those are like kind of the things that I like to do the most.
Hmm.
Um, this this is a little bit difficult for me to answer right now, because my life has been um, preoccupied a lot of the time. I'll say that, like, up until very recently, I was working 2 jobs.
Hmm.
So I didn't have a whole lot of spare time, and I kind of lost focus on um, what leisure and downtime and unwinding looks like. So I'm kind of and the other side of that was that I had some health concerns at the that were coming to a extreme head at the end of last year as well, that I've had to reel in. And so I've been able to start getting more active outside.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm looking forward to embracing that more.
The viewers can't tell. Maybe they can if they knew you a year ago, but you actually dropped down a size in your Rotary T-shirt, and you were giving away your extra large, and you were recruiting a large. So how did you do that to get healthier? What was the kind of the habits that you adopted, and how did you go on that health journey and have the success that you've had?
Yeah, so like I said, at the towards the middle and end of last year, I had gotten some pretty lousy numbers back on my blood work, and my weight was out of control. I had severe sleep apnea for a really long time as well, and so when the when the rubber met the road at the end of last year, and I was confronted with whether I wanted to choose life or not, to put it bluntly. um, I went and got a sleep study done,
Mhm,
and confirmed what we all knew, which is that my sleep was getting interrupted at on average about once a minute, and it had been for years.
mhm,
So I strapped on the CPAP machine, um, and it takes a good 9 months to a year to get the full benefits out of that. But almost immediately, I saw a change, like my mood, my energy, my
mhm,
focus. Um, in addition to that, I'm also on a sobriety journey. I'm not even a year in yet, but I stopped drinking in December of last year and have not since.
mhm.
So that's a lot of mental clarity and empty calories that are not being consumed. And the habits that go along with that too. I would have a beer or two almost every night watching a ball game or something, and eating a lot of junk food.
Mhm.
And so that's not happening anymore either. Um, and overall, my diet is pretty simplistic at this point. I would say it's probably near paleo, except for when I go to the Rotary meetings on Thursday mornings. Um, and so hydration was also key. I wasn't getting enough water.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm trying to stay hydrated as well. But it's kind of a culmination of all of those things that I just mentioned,
Yeah.
increasing my energy levels, increasing my focus, getting better sleep, not drinking anymore, eating better. They all go together, and they've
Yeah.
all come together. Um, and so I feel like not only my physical health is much better. I'm down 48 pounds since
Wow.
December. But my mental health is in a lot better place too. So yeah, that's kind of how it all came together.
Yeah,
Just a big disruption.
yeah, and there's a lot of positive things that are in there. I remember now that you shared that we had a similar conversation, I don't know, maybe 6, 9 months ago or something about the alcohol. I quit drinking alcohol to let my brain heal. I had no idea the benefits of mental clarity
Hmm.
after, because I love to have a couple beers after playing golf, and everywhere you go you have a couple beers, and there's just innocent social drinking, but I never realized how much clarity I gained when I
Hmm.
cut that part out, plus the weight. I mean, because I can't run anymore, so I have to bicycle, which you really have to work to get the calories off. So those empty calories would always, my weight would always go up and down based on the season and probably drinking just those couple beers every, so often. And
Hmm.
like you said, empty calories, you're putting that in. So it's going to go somewhere. And a lot of times for us guys, it goes around our waistline. So,
Yeah, and so like you mentioned cycling, which I do hope that I have the time to commit to again someday. But right now, um, I'm walking and running a little bit.
mhm,
Um, my wife and I did a 5K uh, earlier this month over Labor Day.
mhm,
She runs the whole thing, but I just ran the last mile. I'm up to a point now where I can get about 2 miles in, but
mhm.
again, just kind of going back to like getting better sleep and getting uh, having better energy levels and having less weight. When all those things come together, it gets a lot easier to move.
It does. I so agree with you. I ended up going on clean eating. I eat vegetables first. I always for 5 years got 6 hours and 31 minutes because I tracked it. I could never get over 6.5 hours. But when I get to 7.5, it's like I'm a different person. That
Hmm.
extra hour just gives me such energy and focus and the way you feel. So, what I used to think, I don't know if it was a badge of honor that I could get get more done with less time and less sleep and not realizing what I was doing to the brain and the body by trying to short those sleep cycle. So as we wind down, I want to be respectful of your time. Being an entrepreneur, we have to work hard. We don't get guaranteed paychecks. We have to work for them. So tell our viewers, like, if they want to get a hold of somebody that one serves with his heart and can solve problems in the technology area, how could they get a hold of you?
Well, it looks like you've got it up on the screen here. That's probably the best way. Um, you could also reach out to me at my email address, which is smw1974 at comcast.net.
Awesome.
I am slowly but surely working on my own website. And once I get that in a place where I like it, I will be registering a domain and putting that up, and I'll have a branded company email address. But yeah, for now, you can just reach me at my personal email address or contact me here. Um, you can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp, whatever you're comfortable with.
Awesome. Well, Stephen, well, as we wind down, what would be the one thing that you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
I just, I think the main thing that I would want them to take away from this is just that change is possible. Um, it might even be frightening, but it is possible, and it's it can be to your benefit if it's done correctly. Um, I went through a lot of disruption, put myself through a lot of disruption
Hmm.
um, this year, and I'm highly thankful for it. And so, if there's other people out there who are um, I guess stuck in a rut or unsatisfied with the way things that are going. My encouragement to them is that it is possible to make change, even if it's scary.
Awesome. I love that advice. And, if you are interested in joining an impactful organization to serve the community and serve actually the world, because there's thousands of Rotary clubs, and if you're in the Kennesaw area, reach out to Stephen, reach out to myself, and be a guest on a Thursday morning. To walk into that room, you'll never experience anything like it because it's I mean, it's just the energy is just exploding in that room because people are on the move. They're making a difference. They're have fun with each other. And you can see how Stephen works behind the scenes, because sometimes has the AV
Yep.
controls it. So he's Otley's backup or person that takes care of that when he can't be there, and or when he wants a break. So thank you so much, Stephen. We appreciate your time that you took to be with us and share with our community your journey and your story. And congratulations again for the Rookie Rotarian of the Year.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pete. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at the meeting.
Awesome. I will be there. Thank you. God
Awesome.
willing, we'll be there. Thank you.